Well, welcome everybody to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. I am your host, and we are your resource for education, connections, and collaborations to support you on your wellness journey. And I want to start by thanking our sponsors, Brigitte Bojkowszky, Vibe, and White Sands Premier Travel, because without these sponsored appearances, Mindful Mondays would not be possible. But I am super excited to have Brigitte with us today. She is a brand architect behind some of the world's most distinctive identities. With a passion for empowering corporations and entrepreneurs, Brigitte specializes in cultivating cultures rooted in shared values and delivering exceptional client experiences. And she is a master of leadership branding. She equips executives to navigate the modern business landscape with confidence and clarity. And I am so glad you are here with us today, Brigitte. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Yes. So you weren't always an entrepreneur and doing the branding. You actually came from the corporate world. Can you share with us a little bit what that journey was like for you?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking this. It takes a while to explain everything because it was a very unconventional journey that I went through. I actually started out as a flight attendant, and then I thought, okay, this cannot be everything in this world, and I was hungry for more. So I started studying. I did my master's. I did my PhD, and yeah, in between, I was in corporate. And then after my PhD, I went back to corporate in different positions as a market research head, etc. And after that, I did not right away embark my entrepreneur journey. While I was in corporate, I was also teaching as an external professor, let's say as an affiliate or as kind of affiliate. I was teaching in the area of international marketing and management and global strategy and global branding and global marketing at universities around the world. And in 2008, the financial crisis kicked in, the first crisis we had within the last, I think, 2 decades.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so the company basically went bankrupt right away because I was in real estate development in research. And then the university asked me if I want to work full time and take on more teaching assignments. And then I said, yes, of course I can. And so I was teaching for the last, altogether, I was teaching about for 25 years. So I was like teaching on the side while I was in corporate. And then with the crisis in 2008, I just kind of flipped the whole thing and started teaching full time, slowly. And in 2017, I knew this is not me. This is not me for the rest of my life. And I'm always curious what is out there. And I always had this inner dream to start my own business one day, to be my own boss, to have my own business, being a solopreneur, doing whatever I want, when I want. And then in 2020, my temporary contract terminated.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, this is the time. This is the time now to start to actually go into it full time. And I continued teaching on the side. But right now I'm focusing mostly on my business. And here I am. And it was a very unconventional path, as I said, with all the ups and downs. And sometimes, the universe serves certain things twice if you don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then, it was not a straight line, but now I'm happy that I went through all of that. And even though entrepreneurship is also a roller coaster ride. And
I was going to say, I don't know too many of us that have had a straight line. I think we have all done our ups and downs, or maybe thought we wanted to do something and start another. But kind of like you said, deep down, when you're an entrepreneur, your time's your own, your schedule, because it's up to you, right? And if you don't work, you're not going to get paid. So I think that's normally a lot of the big attraction for a lot of people to be an entrepreneur, is to have that, life balance and not have to answer to somebody. But
Yeah. And you need to have this grit and perseverance and the belief in yourself and everything. Otherwise, you cannot make it. And you need to have the time for self care. So, self care is a huge topic in all walks of life.
Yes.
But especially, it's especially important, an important pillar as a leader within the context of an organization for sure, but also as a business leader, because you have to manage the time yourself and there is a lot of responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. So I have to ask though, so what attracted you to focus on the branding side?
Since I was teaching global marketing, global management, and also establishing a
Mhm.
brand is something that every company, every person has to have. And actually, everyone has one, they're just not aware of it.
Right.
What you are presenting to the world. What is it that others see in you, that others talk about you, that you want others to feel about you? And this is basically branding. It's connecting your core values and with and then authentically, yeah, based on your core values of how you wanna yeah be perceived, how you want to put yourself out there. It's a whole concept. And I was always at the beginning, before I even became a corporate, I was traveling the world as a flight attendant. So for me, branding was always something interesting, because this is 32 years, almost 33 years ago when I started flying, it was not such this global world. And in the US, you see that kind of brands. And in Australia, you see, oh, wow, that kind of brands. And actually in Australia, I saw the first Mac coffee. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was started out there. And then in Southeast Asia, in Bangkok, this, and in Latin America that. And so it was really a really interesting world of so many brands, and how they present themselves and how they stand out and their uniqueness. So this was always something that inspired me. But also, as a flight attendant, you're representing a company, you're walking through the aisle, you do your announcement, and everything there has to be this fit, everything needs to be aligned, and the colors, and how you speak and how you act and your appearance, and everything needs to be in alignment in order to represent something that makes someone else feel whatever you want others to be perceived and what they should feel, actually. Yeah, so you're pushing out an identity. Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you are in the service sector, it's the people that represent the brand in every interaction that you are doing. So, and that kind of was always important to me. And now, in the here and now, as a brand identity strategist, I have worked with like global brands. I taught um, global executive MBA students about how to build brands. I worked with L'Oreal, I worked with Porsche, I worked with big brands. But I also see that the concept as an identity is something that you can apply also on all the other different levels of identities of, not just the corporate identity, not just the
Right.
product and the experience, but it's also about the people behind those brands. Who makes those brands? It's the people who are behind it. So we're coming back to humanizing brands, especially now in the wake of AI. We wanna have a conversation with real people again. So it's really about humanizing. Yeah, that's in the forefront. And how do we do that? With the people, right? And so
Exactly.
we have, and the leadership branding is one step where we talk about how do I present myself as a leader with who I am, but also in the context of the organization. How do I lead teams? And then it comes down also to the person behind, to the who I am as a person. It's about personal branding. So this is
Yes.
a whole holistic let's say also a unified concept. So branding is huge. And there is a misconception out there. I need to clarify. Branding is not about a logo and the tagline and the colors. No, it's so much
Yeah.
more. It's how you express your brand. It's how you kind of materialize it, how to, you infuse meaning into a color. A color means something, the
Mhm.
name means something. Behind everything there is a story. So you need to feed that canvas with a story. And a lot of people start with the branding, the name and everything first. But but that's not the right way, because they sooner or later understand, okay, that's not how it works. What does it actually mean? What is the story behind? What is your why behind? What is your vision, mission? What are your values? What is everything, why you are doing what you are doing? And that makes a brand shine.
Yes. And that's something I learned too, because, being an entrepreneur earlier on, that's what you think of as a name, a logo. You don't maybe put a whole lot of thought into it. But it wasn't until I had met other branding experts that will say the same thing as you. Your brand is not a logo. I mean, it may be factored in, but essentially the brand is, like you said, it has to align. It is the essence of who you are. So if you just threw something out there, but it doesn't really align, then your whole messaging, and I mean, how do you expect people to relate to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. And, as you say, logo and colors and names and tagline and everything, yeah, your website, those are the brand elements that really make your brand tangible. But behind there is this intangibility. It's everything that you need to feel communicating that. So it's the look and the voice, the
Mm-hmm.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, so we talked a little bit about the self care. How would you say self care played a role in navigating that transition in your career? And how does it connect when you're building a strong personal brand?
Yeah, so for me, since I went through the different phases and a lot of transitions throughout my journey in the last 32 years, was that there was a certain synchronicity with listening to and trusting my inner gut and then taking action. And being bold enough, having the courage, based on what I feel, I will set an action. I will do a step. So for me, self-care begins with trusting my instinct. It means always to look inside first, go into introspection, because it's really about deciphering what you truly want. Because there's a lot of opinions out there that people have, and the societal norms, and oh my God, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and what other people would think about. No, 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 no. No one else walks in your shoes. No one else leads our lives. It's up to us to design it intentionally. Personal branding is intentionally. Yeah? It
Yes.
happens intentionally. So it's focusing inward. And by doing so, you identify what you desire for your future self and life. Yeah. And for me, knowing that and doing that was extremely liberating, even though I didn't know how it's going to work, where I going to end up really. I was going into nothingness. I didn't know whether it's strong enough to, pass an exam and get a degree. But I mean, you have to decide. And I did it based on my instincts and what I really want and how I felt like. And then I visualized, and then you kind of re-engineer back from what you're visualizing and manifesting. And then, okay, what can I do in the here and now to reach that?
Right.
So this is, first of all, self-care is trusting your inner gut and not listening to others, because you're molding yourself into something that you are not. And what also helped me, what was a daily anchor, is physical fitness. It was always unconsciously, I was always like moving around, and especially as a flight attendant, was running from here to there, and
Yeah.
everywhere, especially on lawn holes, from the forward to the back, and so on. Yeah. So I was always moving. I'm a person, I always need to move. So working out, especially in the mornings, whether it was running, walking, swimming, hitting the gym, it has become a daily grounding ritual for me. And in this time, I connect with myself. Yeah, sometimes in stillness in nature, or by listening to a podcast, being inspired by podcasts. I like mindset podcasts. And so this always helped me, or it's just music, or just nothing, just being with yourself and let your mind wander around. And this gives me creativity. These are some moments that give me this creativity and also the clarity, and also help me to tackle certain challenges. Sometimes I think about something that I want to have solved until I came back after, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 miles.
Yeah.
And it's usually towards the end you figure it out. It's really interesting. Yeah. So that's what I do. And then also, um, it's that self-care for me. Yeah, there is one more thing that I have started doing, and I'm so happy I started that, is writing in a gratitude journaling, because it gives me the resilience that I need. Resilience is a muscle, that can grow. Yeah, it's nothing fixed. It's like confidence. You need to work on it. Yeah,
Right.
and it helps me to reflect on everything that I have achieved, even though in times where I didn't know how to go forward, even in times where I experienced lots of setbacks. But it's you can have, you can be sad or devastated, but once you start getting into the mindset of being thankful, you are in a positive mindset. It's reinforcing thinking positively about what you already have. And I'm also thankful for all the challenges that are coming, because they're showing me something where I can improve, where I can learn. And it's usually where I leap going forward.
As I
Yeah.
say, exactly. It's a learning experience, and that's a great way to look at it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, and I also know, no matter how difficult it is, it happens for a reason. And that is also helping me through difficult time. It's an act of self-care to sit down, reflect on what you are grateful for. I mean, at least 3 things. I made it 10 things. 10 things I'm grateful for every day, and finding different things. So I'm going through my whole day in the evening to think about that. And it's the little things. A beautiful flower on the floor while I'm on a run, or just a smiling face, or something that really other people just don't see, but you also see the little things that can make someone happy. And gratitude keeps me grounded. And as I said, it's really fostering my resilience, and shifts my focus towards growth and possibilities. And for me, self-care is not a means of preservation. It's like, let's keep it all, or at least to create a balance.
Right.
It's more than that. It's a commitment to growth. Because when I care about myself, I'm learning, I'm evolving, and I'm becoming a better version of myself every day. So it fuels my growth mindset, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can be proud of yourself, and that this is and being on a certain path and pushing forward. Yeah.
And it
So
also ties into what you said before, because when you're talking about self-care, and yes, everybody has opinions, but when you can ground and do your self-care, you can be more authentic, right, with yourself, and show who you truly are, and not maybe what somebody else thinks you should be.
yeah, yeah. And also allow yourself to be in solitude, if that is possible, because you learn so much about yourself just being with yourself. Not it has nothing to do with being lonely or something like that, but also trying to feel into the moment where you just with yourself. And then there is another thing that I would like to mention, is Also focusing on your habits, on healthy habits, like prioritizing sleeping, that you get your sleep and not, you know, trying to go to bed, like make it as a routine to go to bed at 10 o'clock or at 11 o'clock and have your 6, 7 hours, whatever you're comfortable with, to get your sleep, and healthy eating. So most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, this is part of self-care, to allow myself and to feel into what, I mean, I'm doing a lot of research about that, and so for me this is part of self-care, that I watch what I'm eating. And it's not that there is, it's not a must. I really love it. So I'm really looking forward to creating a good healthy meal that makes my day. So you see that there is also a mindset shift going towards that. But just to tell you that self-care is really an act of branding, to come back to that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, it's because it forms part of your identity, and it's creating an image that you're projecting into the world as a leader, as a business owner, as a person.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's always aligning, and that's why it's so important when you do self-care, and as a bridge to branding, you need to really know what your underlying values are. So what are your core values that you are living and breathing every day? What is that? Because that connects with how you act, yeah, how you present yourself, and how others then perceive you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have a lot more to go, because I know we're going to be talking about breaking through those boundaries and helping let people know where they should even begin when they're creating their brand. But we do need to take a quick break from a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Relief for PTSD, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and many other ailments. Introducing Vibe, the world's only pocket PEMF device. You place in your pocket while cooking, cleaning, relaxing, watching TV, sitting at your computer, reading, or walking. Self-contained standalone device. No drugs. No other phone or Bluetooth connections required. No monthly subscription fees. No apps to download. No Bozone. The future of medicine is in the frequencies. Come join the revolution.
Hey, we got soul. Oh yeah, we got soul.
So, Brigitte, as someone who has broken through many boundaries in your career, what self-care practices helped you stay resilient and focused during your difficult times? Because we all hit those.
Yes. All right. So first of all, for me, as I'm coming from a place of playing small and limiting myself, I suggest to also reflect on what are you thinking every day based on certain circumstances that you're having. Yeah. Is it something that you maybe tell yourself, oh, I'm not good enough? For example, it was me. Something like that. Yeah. So it's the most important self-care practice. What I can tell coming from from that part of the world. Yeah.
Right.
Actively reframing my thoughts, because what you think makes you feel. You're taking certain actions and then you're having a certain results, right? So when my voice in my head said, oh, I'm not good enough, I immediately now correct it. I'm reframing into empowering statements. I'm good enough. I'm capable. And that shifts your mindset if you're doing that. Yeah. It helps you to build this resilience and maintain the focus, especially in the moments that are challenging for you. The second thing is to stay positive. And what helped me is, I'm coming back to what I said before, is this physical workouts, because that helps me to anchor, and it also clears my mind. Yeah.
Yes.
It's where I connect to nature, but also with my purpose. And thereby I regain this strength to move forward. And then what I'm also doing is the meditation and visualization, very much the visualization of my future self. Because when I envision my future self, I can work towards that. Yeah. And that also reduces this feeling of being overwhelmed in the here and now, because there is a reason, there is a why, right?
Right.
And then creating these little steps going forward to achieve that. And since we are both coming from the aviation, I have a very, very, very dear old friend. I've known this guy for 33 years now. And he taught me to adopt a forward facing mindset. He is a former military fighter jet pilot. And he once said to me, he didn't, he told me, behind you is the flood. Face forward, face forward, face forward, face forward. So this is his mindset. He was very strict and disciplined, and I'm also very strict and disciplined to myself. Yeah.
Right.
This advice stayed with me. I learned to never look back and never ever give up, no matter how difficult the journey became. There's always a way forward. Always. You just need to ground yourself, connect with yourself, and then and do everything that basically I have mentioned here. And there is so many more things that you can do, but this is part of it. When I look back at how far I have come. This is also good for self-care. See what you have achieved in the last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Do not compare yourself to others, because they have another journey to go. It's your journey and only your journey. And be proud of yourself, what you have achieved. This is one thing. Then gratitude journaling, of course. But I also learned during my journey, I usually did it all by myself. I navigated challenges alone, relying only on my inner strength.
Mm-hmm.
As I embarked on the entrepreneurial journey, interestingly, I discovered the importance of having a close circle of friends and accountability partners who believed in me. They cheered me on and lifted me up. They popped the champagne with me, virtually. Went with me through the trenches and picked me up from when I hit rock bottom. It's so important to have this close circle of friends. This is like one of the pillars. It's also great to have an ear when they are, need your help, because it's kind of, you help each other, you lift each other, and it's bonding, and it's with people that are on the same journey, either a little bit ahead or a little bit behind you. And it's so beautiful to see each other grow. So having a support system that understands you. What
Yeah.
I would say is, because every one of us wants to eat the elephant in a bite. And this is not possible, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah. They always tell you one bite at a time, because we always try to tackle on too much. And I
Yeah.
love that you mentioned that, because that's where I think a lot of people get stuck, is thinking small. And I think when you focus on what you didn't accomplish, it keeps you thinking small, rather than, like you said, focusing on what you did accomplish.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have to have these big goals. Yeah. This is so
Oh, yeah.
important. Bigger than the stars to reach. Yeah, of course, because there is a lot of mountains to climb, and behind the mountain is another mountain and another mountain. But then further down, yeah, there is this ultimate goal, the vision or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
But then you need to break it down in bite size. Uh, how do you call that? Bite sized.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
take bite
Bite
sized.
size, what little pieces at a time, and not the whole thing.
Exactly. And then not the whole thing. And for me, this is like the waypoints. It's like when you are taking off, I mean, and you are flying somewhere, and your destination is Vienna, Los Angeles, yeah, and then
Yeah.
you have waypoints on the way, and those are the little steps, and then you say, are we still on track? How is the weather? Da, 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 waypoint, checking everything. And so you need to check in with yourself. Am I still on track towards that specific goal? Yes or no? And then you need to kind of, re-strategize. You need to be intentional of what you're doing. So I think this is it. And yeah,
A lot.
these
So
practices.
yeah. So a lot of people, though, especially when they're in entrepreneurs, they struggle because there's a lot of us that are like busy moms. You have this, you have that, but they struggle with finding that balance and how to work on it. What would you have the A word here? Sorry about that. How would you suggest that they balance that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's really important to have me time. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, prioritize me time. People forget about that. And then they are burning out, overwhelmed, and the family and this and that. I mean, I hope that most of the entrepreneurs have kind of, a family that is supporting them and arrange everything with the kids. And maybe there's a husband or not. But prioritize me time. Carve out dedicated time for yourself daily. That's a non-negotiable, because if you're burned out, you cannot operate. Yeah.
Right.
And it's also an act of branding to take care of yourself, because you're presenting yourself in this way, right?
Yes.
You're also being a role model to others, not only as an entrepreneur, but also as a leader, yeah, within an organization. So start the day with intentional self-care practices, meditation, workout, whatever that is, to set a strong foundation during the day. Then we need to get up a little bit earlier, but that's how it is. Yeah. And then also know to step away from work. Recognize this point where you say enough is enough for today.
Need to walk away.
You need now, okay, drop it and get up. There's nothing kind of will be done anyway anymore. So you need to know when there is this enough, and then embrace nature for mental clarity. I love that. When I am overwhelmed and when I see enough is enough, I get up, either I swim or I take a brain bubble bath. Have you ever heard about it?
Not a brain bubble bath. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes, Mel Robbins. I love her. She has a nice podcast too.
Uh-huh.
She talks about taking walks, and she calls that brain bubble bath, because when you walk, it's a bubble bath for your mind, for your brain. You get clarity. You kind of release stress. And once you're back, you have a clear mind, you sit down and you get done so much more than when keep sitting and when you continue doing things, and it's when it's not working anymore, you're overwhelmed and it's too much. Yeah.
It's like banging your head against a wall and you're trying to do the same thing and you're expecting a different result, and it just doesn't work. I tell people it may sound like you're slowing down or going backwards, but you can actually go forward faster if you take that time to slow down, because you're just Have you ever had it where you're trying to think of something so bad? Maybe you heard a song, you can't think of who sung it, and it's bugging the heck out of you, but yet you'll go to sleep, and in the middle of the night, all of a sudden it just like pops in your head.
Yeah, it's on the tip of your tongue, but still you can't grasp it. Yeah, and suddenly when you're not concentrating, it's there. But your mindset is so fixed on it that it just can't go through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or come through. Yeah. So what else can you do? I mean, apart from gratitude journaling, accountability partners, also create an inspiring environment. That's important for me to feel where I can be most productive. So surround yourself with things that are, that are helpful, that makes your heart sing, makes you smile, and you can decorate your office in that way. Yeah. So I think
Create your space.
Create your space and declutter. Declutter your mind and declutter things physically, because physically decluttering also helps you to clear your mind, because we are full of overwhelmed with so many things. And there is one thing, and there is actually a concept. It's the KISS model. It's not only keep it simple and short, but it says, okay, what do I want to keep? What do I want to improve? What do I want to stop? What do I want to let go? Yeah? Stopping means letting go, or maybe delegating. Or when you keep something, you still can delegate part of that. Yeah.
Right.
But letting go, to be open to embrace and receive new things that are right for you at the very moment, and going forward for the next steps to take. And the last S would be start. What do I need to start? Maybe how can I instead of procrastination, what you want to start making these little steps. But you need to have a goal in order to start making these little steps towards to. So this is all coming together, basically. Yeah, and investing in personal growth, investing in mental, emotional, physical well-being, because it's body, mind, and soul. Self-care is body, mind, and soul.
Yeah, and it can even be the clothes you wear. I don't know about you, but if I'm normally dressed in sweats, I am not in.
No.
I'm in lazy mode. I'm not in a mode to do things, and it may sound silly, but a lot of people don't even realize that what you wear, what you put on, you're kind of setting your intentions for the day.
Exactly, it makes you feel something. Yeah, certain clothes, and that's why also brands. Think about brands. Why do you have certain brands? It's an extension of yourself. Yeah. Why do you use Apple? Because it makes something. You feel something with it. Yeah. And when you decorate yourself, have a certain appearance, you feel proud, you feel good, you feel in the mode of a business owner, or have this presence as an executive, as a leader. So you have a completely different appearance, and then also this gravitas, that it all goes together. Yeah.
Right. Hey, Brigitte, we've talked a lot about self-care, and I know it's a big part of this, self-care and mindset. For our listeners out there that are like looking to be an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, they haven't created a name or brand, or maybe they have one and they need to change because it's really not resonating with them or other people. What steps or what process would you suggest for them to start with?
I would say, to start with, so when it comes to your question was to building a brand, or
like say like someone who's brand new, they're like doing you, they're leaving corporate, or they're leaving some kind of a job, they're wanting to be an entrepreneur, but they and they want to create. What steps or suggestions would you have for them to start?
Branding starts from within. Branding starts with mindset. Each of us has inherent brilliance and beauty. That's what I'm always saying. We have this in us, this uniqueness. But often as I said before, we are so outward focused and we are not noticing what we are really good at and what makes us shine. And we all have something to bring to the table. And self-care allows us, yeah, to do that, to embark then on this self-discovery, excavating, figuring out what is it that makes us so unique, so exceptional in this world, because everyone brings something through this table. Yeah. And this is also shapes this mindset, shapes an identity, a brand, a personal brand, or then an entrepreneurial brand. So you are the face of your company as a solopreneur. That also ties into a company brand. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're shaping not only your identity, but also the company brand identity in that sense. And this also creates a positive feeling when you're embarking. You might be overwhelmed, but also a positive feeling of self-worth. Yeah.
Right.
Um, so um, understanding, yeah, that everything starts from within. A personal brand is built from within: vision, mission, and your core values, and also your shifting or reframing your limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs. And that has a lot to do with self-care, because it's also a foundation of authenticity, because self-care is about showing up who we truly are without a mask.
Yes.
Wearing a mask might be an easy solution short term, but it's really exhausting. Yeah? And that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
And unhealthy in terms of emotional, sickness or any other health challenges, mental health challenges that you have. So when we live authentically, we attract the right people, the right in terms of an entrepreneur, the right customers, the right opportunities. It's about unapologetically being authentic. That is self-care. It makes life so much easier than running around with a mask, molding yourself into something that you are not.
That you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you have someone that maybe came to you and they're struggling with their brand, they kind of know what they want, but they're not necessarily a creative type. Is that where you come in and help with them?
Yeah. No matter whether it's a creative person or not a creative person, but I really help those people because I went through it myself, and I focus on creating identities, basically branding. So I'm a brand strategist or branding strategist. I help them to make this whole journey a little bit faster and guide them step by step, because at the beginning you're running around with a chicken with the head cut off, kind of, you call it like that, right? And you don't know, where do I start here, where do I start there, and then let's do the marketing, and I need a what was that, a social media a branding person. But what you gonna brand and what you communicate on social media if you don't really have a brand that has meaning attached to it? Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like you're building a building without foundation. Yeah. So you need this foundation, and that's what I help my clients, whether it's entrepreneurs. And with entrepreneurs, I have created, based on a lot of research, a 3-step branding blueprint, entrepreneurial branding blueprint, where the first pillar or the first step is mindset shift. The second is building your personal brand, and then building your company brand. This is one process, and you cannot skip any of the steps, because something would be missing. And that's what I do. I guide them through. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you put the cart before the horse, and then you're kind of scrambling to make things fit. Yeah. We all get excited about doing stuff, and we get these opportunities, and sometimes we just go and, I've had people say, "Oh, we'll just put this for now. You can change it later." And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to like build something and then say, "Oh, well, wait a minute. No, now I'm this."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is basically it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's beautiful. And I love that when you have people that, like you said, are supportive, they're there for you. They can help guide you, not to tell you, "Ew, that's this," because
Yeah.
you'll listen to them and make sure that it resonates with them and help guide, like you said, guide them. It's not to say, no, this is horrible, because you're always going to have those people out there, right,
Yeah.
that have their opinions. You're not going to resonate with everybody.
And I also think that to hire a brand agency, kind of to do it for you. But what do they do? Do they know you? I mean, uh, it, they will come up with something, but is this truly authentic? Is this truly you? Is this something that you can own? Branding starts from within, and um, I'm I think that the way of guiding is the right way to go, because I elicit everything out of my clients they already have within them, but they don't know, or they cannot verbalize it, they cannot make sense of it, they cannot connect the dots with it, because they're lacking the know-how of this whole branding process, right? So
Right.
that's why I guide. I ask them a lot of questions. They do a lot of work. It's a journey, but
Mhm.
it's a beautiful journey, because it's really meeting yourself and creating your future business with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, because you can truly connect with the people, because it may be easy to throw money at something and, oh, they come up with this, and you may like it, but what does it, really mean? I would think it would mean a lot more. I know it did for me when I worked with my branding person, when I came with the brand, it meant a lot more for me for someone to listen, and, they had the creativity to keep redesigning things, and we kept bouncing back and forth. It wasn't like a poop one and done. It took a few meetings.
Yeah, it takes a while, but it totally pays. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's really the journey. It's not only the outcome of creating a brand. And by the way, a brand is nothing static. It's dynamic itself, because
Mhm.
it's evolving with you. Because you as a person are evolving. You have different, maybe different goals. Certain things are changing. Not only you are changing, the environment is changing. Consumer behavior is changing. New trends are coming up. There are different players in that industry, so there's always something changing. We are in constant change, and so are you as a person. So is you your brand. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's leveling up. It has dynamic, and that's beautiful. And that's why it's not done with a one-time shot, with a one-time thing. You need to nurture yourself, of course, yeah,
Mhm.
and evolve it. That's why personal development, but that goes also into your branding, and in your company is also a living entity. It's not just a thing. It's you need to feed it with people, with ideas, with everything that you are. It's like your website that is growing and taking away here, but you're putting in there, and then maybe you are stretching into another category, or you're expanding here, or you're doubling down there, because there's a lot of potential in the market. So it's a living thing.
Yeah. And it's always a balance too, because everybody's going to have their opinions of how they think it should look, or how it should go, or what makes it easier. But we have millions upon millions of people on this planet. So you're never going to make them all happy. But yeah, for
No,
me, it's like, okay, does it represent me? Is it how I want it to look? We can always fine tune things, but you can really get lost in the weeds if you want to kind of if you keep trying to remold and
exactly.
not be yourself.
Exactly. And that's why stay true to yourself. Be authentic. Be vulnerable, and come from a place of where you talk, not from your wounds, because we are not in a reality show, but from your scars, from the journey, from what you have taken away, what you have learned from that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something where other people see, that's how she did it, that's how she went through that, that's her solution, that's the way of how she accomplished that, that's the way of how she got out on the other side. So this is the way, yeah. And we need to really focus and focus. We cannot serve everyone, as you
No.
just said. Yeah, there is abundance in the world, and I mean, there's always people who don't like you, and vice versa. So there is other people serving them, but you need to connect, and you always connect on a visceral level first. That's why I always say it's about make someone feel. Yeah? So you connect on the visceral, on the emotional level, and then people remember you. It goes first through the heart and then to your head, to your mind. So first the emotions and then the rational, and
There
not
you
the
go.
other way around, because information is fleeting. If it's not interesting, you forget about it. But if it's touching your heart, you're not forgetting about it.
No, not at all. Brigitte, we have about 4 minutes left. What would you like to leave the audience with today? What's the most important thing you want them to take away from
Uh,
this?
so when it's about confidence and elevating your brand, it always starts from within. When you nurture yourself through intentional self-care, then you strengthen the foundation for lasting personal and professional success. So self-care is a non-negotiable.
And mindset. And like you said, and mindset. And you really do. You need that self-care, if nothing else, to protect yourself from the naysayers and whatever else. But like you mentioned, a beautiful thing too is finding that right support group. No one got to where they're going alone.
No, we need people. We are humans, and we need us being in a social setting, and yeah, so we cannot do it alone. And when we get together with people that are you know we feel like there is something that bonds us, that connects us, are on the same journey, then there is kind of a
Yeah,
multiplier
yeah, the
effect,
synergy, that
Yes,
synergy, and then just go.
absolutely. The synergy, there is synchronicity, there's a lot of beautiful, positive things coming your way. So this is, yeah, alone is not good. And also, we are not forced to connect with people that rather drain us, right? So
Mhm.
we are free to decide what we want for ourselves in our life. And we have to allow ourselves that freedom. A lot of people don't allow themselves. So I think this is another critical point.
Yeah, absolutely. Brigitte, I want to thank you for joining us today. And anyone listening, if you are in that space where you are trying to create a brand, start your entrepreneurship, or maybe you just need a change and a refresher, I would highly recommend you connect with Brigitte. You have her website here, or you can also follow her on her YouTube channel. But I want to thank you for all your insights and sharing your journey with us today. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Laura. It was a pleasure being here with you today. Yeah,
Thank
it's a
you.
Thank you.
And everybody have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time.